The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Welcome aboard to Bass number 564. Zach is running a little bit late, but Andy and Mike are here, and we are here, and I guess we're going to do this thing.
Yes, we are present, and we are on the internet, producing entertainment for everyone.
And that's about as good as it's going to get.
Since Zach is running a little bit behind, we mentioned we were talking in pre-show about the greatest wrestling pay-per-view ever put on. Was just a few days ago.
Yeah, the way some people tell it, AEW All Out was, quite frank, was apparently one of if not the greatest shows of all time, and I'm not sure I'd go that far, but I will say, wow, that was a lot of fun.
Did you see it, Mike?
Yes, I did.
So I don't know what the top WrestleManias or SummerSlams are or whatever, but compare it to say a top 5 WWE event.
I would say, and this is my personal opinion, and this is perhaps I'm rating it on the high side, but I would put AEW All Out 2021 on par with WrestleMania 17 from 2001, which is universally held up as the best WrestleMania.
Wow, cool. And
yeah,
let me get this in really quick, Mike. For those of you listening, we're just doing the wrestling until Zach gets here, then we're going to do football. So just bear with us a couple minutes here.
Well, now I know Andy's a wrestling fan, so I figured I'd ask on the show just because it's this show was the talk of the internet for. I'd say good reason. It was a very fun show from start to finish.
I don't know if I would. I definitely cannot say I cannot qualify it as the best of anything. I think important, is a very important. I feel like wrestling has been waiting on a moment like this for the industry for a very long time. There hasn't really been. TNA had a lot of really big name talent, but never did anything even remotely close to what happened over the weekend. And I mean, when you have essentially these huge stars, in the case of the WWE, you have CM Punk and Bryan Danielson. Spoilers, by the way, who are now, suddenly. Who were, I guess more for Danielson than Punk. Bryan Danielson was on top of the company just a few years ago, and he was still a big draw. If he went out there today in WWE, he'd still be huge. He chose to come to AEW because for multiple reasons, and I feel like their details for Punk. It's pretty obvious he went to AEW because it's not WWE, but Bryan Danielson. Was very, very warm toward WWE and Vince McMahon and said, all these great things. I loved working for them. I love, I'm literally kind of semi-married into the family of WWE, and I consider a lot of the employees and all this stuff great and family. I respect them, but also I don't want to work for them. I want to work for this company because it's awesome and they have something really special happening here. So I would say that if you, in long scope of history, assuming that this will be what I think everyone expects it to be, which is a turning point for the industry for probably the next 10, 20 years. This is probably the equivalent wrestling-wise of I would put it right there with Hogan being the third man. I would put it right below that.
that was another one that I'd seen people brandy about, was comparing this to Bash at the Beach '96, where, it just, maybe not, maybe not the greatest show ever, but, stuff happens on it and you go, holy shit.
Yeah. Let me throw in a layman's question here. Has AEW with this event, and I think when they first came along, we were talking if they're just a, a cute alternative to WWE, that'd be a pretty successful run for them. Have they achieved the status at this point that you could look at them and go, they might be WCW level of competition now?
I would say that it's easily like WCW at the peak of its powers right now.
Wow.
But with a much more promising future.
It's actually funny. The guy who owns AEW is ironically a WCW fan, and as Dave Meltzer, one of the prominent wrestling journalists out there, has said, "Thank God he's not booking it like WCW." But his sort of attitude seems to be like, it's going to be like WCW, but like booked competently instead of just, getting lucky and spending all the lotto winnings like a homeless bum, which is kind of what happened.
and really with WCW, I think a lot of, as they rose to prominence, a lot of it was, well, we'll get all the talent and then the rest will just take care of itself. Mm-hmm. And I think that has been, one of the main things that AEW has worked to avoid. They've been very smart about giving their talent, restoring the independent contractor status of their talent, to say like, yeah, you work for us, but I mean, if you want to go do this promotion for a month, whatever,
John Moxley is the GCW champion.
Yeah, like it's super weird to see this GCW, which is this nothing promotion. And if you see footage from this GCW, it's kind of embarrassing, honestly, to watch what happens.
GCW is like the kind of wrestling that you don't want to be caught watching, because it's going to confirm all the worst stereotypes about wrestling.
Right. And I mean, it's got its place, but it definitely reminds me, it's like a few stones or a few ticks above the like handheld backyard video wrestling from like the late 90s, early 2000s. But anyway, so they're having a big match and they've got a big star. It's, he used to be, what is his name? Matt Cordano.
Zack Ryder.
Yeah.
Formerly, I don't know what.
Zack Ryder / Matt Cordano, and he's their champion or whatnot. Anyway, so there's this really kind of embarrassing sequence at the end of their show where a bunch of druids are out there with this wrestler nobody knows, and it's just like nobody's reacting. The crowd doesn't give a shit. And then this one druid kind of starts acting weird, and he's clearly bigger than the other ones, and he does a DDT to Cordano, and then the crowd goes apeshit because they realize who's under it, and it's John Moxley just randomly showing up. I mean, it's probably the equivalent of like of having a backyard death match and like Chris Jericho showing up. It's just like, it's like, holy shit, what the fuck is this guy doing here? And again, like that appeals to a lot of different wrestlers who are basically like, hey, I'll work for you, but like, there's a lot of different things I want to do. And Tony Khan and the rest are just like, yeah, sure, man. We'll just kind of bring you here. We'll let you do your thing. And, but we want you to have the freedom of traveling or going to different promotions and learning and stretching your legs a little bit.
I just think that, when we first talked about it, was it a couple of years ago, I guess, maybe 3.
Yeah, it was 2019. That's when they started.
Jesus, it seems like it was longer ago than that, doesn't it? Because of the 2020.
Yeah, well, 2020 was like 5 years in and of itself. So
yeah, but I vaguely remember the discussion back then, and it was essentially that if these guys could just become, basically viable and just survive, that would be great. And now all of a sudden we're looking at them as, like the comparison I use, which is like they're like the WCW now. Well, they're right there.
I mean, they're on TNT, drawing around 1 million people per week. Apparently, because TNT classifies wrestling as a sport. Due to the demos, outside of soccer, apparently AEW is like the youngest skewing sport on television right now.
That's
in terms
good.
of audience. So it's like not at like WWE levels in terms of just sheer, I guess, mainstream presence yet, because the company's only been around for 2 years. But I would say that Andy's right, that like this was like the show that happens where it feels like a turning point where suddenly going forward more people are going to know about this, and it's going to get even bigger.
And now it's on them not to screw it up, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of concern about, I think there's a lot of fans based on the ratings that are coming back and things of that nature, that the demographic, that Attitude Era, I guess, demographic that has been looking for a wrestling product to latch onto, they're renewing interest in wrestling with AEW, whereas WWE has like a talking scary doll, and they don't really know what to do with anything besides Roman Reigns. The product is just very, very different.
I watched Raw for the first time in a long time a few weeks back, and I could not get through that show. It was just, if it wasn't stupid, it was dull. Just ugh.
It's still too long, and like that's the other thing, is that AEW has been doing much more with much less.
Yeah, they got a 2-hour show, and it's like, boom, that's all you need.
You don't need 3 hours every Monday, and they'll never let that go. I don't know why. It's just a tighter
3 hours.
Yeah,
it's been 3 hours for years.
They went to 3 hours. They went to 3 hours a few years back, and the idea was that at the time, WWE had like the deepest roster that any wrestling company had ever had. So the idea was like, oh, you could fill 3 hours on Monday night with great matches easily, given all the guys they had under contract. And that's not what happened. And I don't think it ever happened.
Well, yeah. So I just, I thought we'd devote a few minutes of the show to that.
It was
sure.
It's one of those, I don't know. It's one of those wrestling shows where, as a wrestling fan myself, I'm trying not to be hyperbolic because it's very relevant. It's very in the now, but it's one of those shows where it was the first wrestling show in a while where where when it was over, I was just like, well, that was like a good time.
Cool.
Which is rare. And you'd think that would be more common. Wrestling is kind of based on the concept of fun. But it's been few and far between, and AEW's had a few, fun shows here and there, but this, like, from start to finish was just a knockout show. And this upcoming Wednesday, tomorrow, should be wild. So
cool. Good to see. I always, any alternate or alternative, whatever you want to call it, league or sport that can come along that succeeds, I'm all for it. I think that's a good thing. It makes everybody else better if it works.
And WWE's retaliating by turning NXT into a tie-dye thing. So who the hell knows how that's going to go.
Tie-dye thing.
Yeah, they've rebranded.
Like wrestling hippies or what?
I mean, basically their logo has gone from kind of just a generic wrestling thing to this, like, I don't know. It looks like it's paint splattered and just kind of.
So
kind of
basically,
they've gone back to the 90s, basically.
So basically, what happened was NXT was WWE's developmental brand, and they had it on their streaming network, and it had gained quite a bit of a cult following. At one point, people were calling it the best wrestling show out there, and AEW came along and inked a deal to go on Wednesday nights on TNT. So WWE immediately counter-programmed and pulled strings at the USA Network to get NXT moved off of their streaming network and onto the USA Network to air opposite in the same time slot as AEW. And that started a ratings war that AEW actually ended up winning pretty easily. And then apparently, as a result of losing that ratings war, NXT is being revamped, and it's looking not great. So
Zach is here.
Tie-dye everything.
Hello, Zach.
I leave you guys alone for 15 minutes, and all I jump in on is wrestling.
Wrestling.
Well,
you weren't here, so
it wasn't planned to move. We figured we would talk about it until you got here, and then move on to because the planning for this show is so well thought out and everything. It occurred to me
very airtight outline. Yes,
about 10 to 7 that we might want to do an NFL preview show of sorts tonight.
Yeah, this was just it's good to good to have these things just on.
Yeah, the other preparation that goes into the show, and that was at 10 minutes till.
Yeah,
I'm like, wait.
Again, as the casual wrestling fan, it came across my desk again this weekend when the experts over WWE, their naming conventions, really threw me off when I saw Bryan Danielson take the stage for AEW, and I was like, that sounds and looks a lot like Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, that WWE, if they can help it, they like to rename guys so they can own the trademark. And the dude's name is Bryan Danielson. So
wait a minute, that was Daniel Bryan you were referring to.
Yes,
yeah.
sorry.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So dude's name was Bryan Danielson. He'd been wrestling forever on the indies, got signed by WWE. He was so famous that he was famous enough among wrestling fans that they couldn't just give him an unrelated name, but they still wanted to be able to own the trademark. So WWE named Bryan Danielson Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
The real
creative geniuses over there.
Yeah, the creative geniuses at work in Stamford, Connecticut.
Small
the Midnight Oil.
Small side story of that was that Bryan Danielson's indie music theme was The Final Countdown by Europe. And the AEW has been very famous now for going and licensing well-known songs for their wrestlers.
They got Cult of Personality for Punk,
Wild Thing by X, and a few other things. But so Europe was like, yeah, you can totally license our song. We'll charge you $50,000 every time you play it.
Wow.
So they were like, yeah, fuck that. We'll go with something else.
Yeah. Someone factored in that, assuming Bryan Danielson appears, at least somewhat regularly, on the weekly programming and pay-per-view, if they licensed the song at that price, they'd end up paying Europe over $4 million a year.
Well, I don't
which prompted someone on wrestling Twitter to respond, "No one's ever paid Europe that much for anything before."
Right. I'm sorry. That song's not that great that it's worth $50,000 a pop.
And why do that when he's also known for a song that's public domain?
Well, and the beginning of that song is the only part that anybody gives a fuck about anyway. The rest of it's garbage, So
it's been co-opted too by Arrested Development, but which to a much lesser extent. I always think about Job's Magic shows whenever that song is played. For those who have seen the first few seasons.
They're illusions, Michael.
Illusions, Michael. Yeah.
Not that I'm not particularly tied to Final Countdown for Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan. I never really saw much of his indie stuff anyway, but so I'm not broken up over it, but when I saw what Europe was asking, I kind of was upset on principle. who the fuck do you think you are?
I think they charge that high because they too hate the song, and I think they just want it to go away. It's one of those like we price it deliberately at a high extent because we just want it to like fade into nothing, to fade into the dusts of history because they just don't want it to circulate.
Here's my thing: if I had Haggerty family money, and I wouldn't pay those fuckers $50,000 to let me jam with them for an entire show in my backyard, I just wouldn't do it. It's like, no, I'd rather go down to the open mic night somewhere and play with those cats instead.
Hey, real quick, by the way, have we found, because what Zach found another coach that got
Pitt.
Yeah.
The
is it
Chris
just those
Bickle
two?
97 head football coach.
Yeah.
As
Chris
far as
Kramer
I've
97.
Seen, right. I mean that one's all the more ridiculous for the alumni year attached to it.
Yeah.
Like that's
this is out of hand. Just out of hand.
$20 million for that one.
Yeah, that one.
The $20 million that blew my mind. I almost wanted to go like Chris Bickle or whatever got ripped the fuck off because the Haggerty's only paid what, $2 million?
$2 million, yeah.
2.5, but yeah.
2.5. He massively overpaid. He probably could have gotten this for
FAU. Yeah,
but when's the last time Pitt's done anything really? Like
when Tony Dorsett was there, which was like when I was 5 or whatever.
Dan Marino.
Long time ago.
It's the alma mater of Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald
and Nate Peterman.
Yeah, Aaron Donald was
right. I didn't know that. I thought
and Larry Fitzgerald, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, Larry Fitzgerald was Pitt. Yeah, there's some good players. I mean, it's not a bad program. I don't know if it's $20 million to name the head coach good, but it's a solid, well-known program. It's just I wouldn't put it in the upper echelon.
$20 million for Pitt. What would it take to name Nick Saban?
See, I was actually gonna bring that up. That as it pains me to say it because I hate giving Nick Saban credit for anything, but one of the I don't know. It does make me happy, kind of knowing that Nick Saban would probably shoot this down. Just based off what he's said about like uniforms.
If anything, once he's done, it'll become the Nick Saban head coaching position at the University of Alabama.
Yeah.
I don't get this. I mean, to me, I said this last week, I'll say it again. It feels like you're buying a person, which just doesn't feel right to me. It is not a thing that I
Well, they're buying the position. The person rotates in and out of it.
Yeah, I suppose, but I think there are better things to sponsor. The band, for example, because I got news from not one announcer is going to call Willie
the ones who
family Willie,
the ones associated with the local affiliates probably will have to.
Yeah, maybe like once. Like they're not going to do it. It's not going to be like the tip of their tongue every time. But I mean, listen, guys, the money's not going to launder itself. Okay, they have to.
Right.
Like for something like Alabama, I think it would probably be like the Bear Bryant Walmart head football coach. Like it would be some multi-$100 million tie-in.
You're looking at hundreds of millions. I mean, because if you're getting $20 million at Pitt, Saban's got to be worth $100 million easy, which is just a ridiculous waste of money.
Is there an Alabama donor out there who wants to drop $100,000 on?
Oh, I'm sure of it. Jeez, I just I don't, I'm not one to count other people's money, but when you start doing really dumb things with it, I go, well, that's a pretty dumb way to spend your money. And I mean, do what you want with it.
Dennis brings up they'll have Saban remain the eternal head coach a la North Korea.
That's a fair point.
They'll develop some weird backstory where like a butterfly came in on a like summer breeze and like was planted a tree and became Saban. I don't know, some weird like mystic thing.
And you know what? And people like you will be going, that's bullshit. He coached at Toledo back in whatever year it was. So yeah. But the sponsorship thing is just with the coaches. It's already.
We're just getting started.
Yeah, I know. We're just getting started too. It's just going to get worse from here. It's just the whole sporting landscape.
But if college football wants to go down this road, and I suppose there's an argument that it does, given the
I mean, it is.
Given the SEC annexing everything in their path and I guess the alliance to oppose them being formed, this is just going to be it. Like, which is ironic for a level of the sport that used to at least put up the pretense of amateurism is now just like even more so than the NFL, just falling to naked greed.
Yeah, it's a money.
I mean, you say what you will about the NFL. I seriously doubt the NFL would allow, some schmuck to pay $100,000 to name the Packers head coaching position after them. So,
could you imagine someone naming Bill Belichick? That would be funny, just to see his reaction to it.
He would have no reaction. He wouldn't have a reaction.
We're just focused on Buffalo coming up next week.
We're just kind of looking at the phone, guys. There's nothing. I got nothing to say about that. It's still nice. But we're going into this with week 1 coming up here. We're going into this would be going into our 10th year.
Yeah,
right?
and if we had a patch made, which we should. Oh, wait, before we go any further, speaking of patches, we've got to address Andy's MVP patch on his jersey.
Oh,
it's pretty glorious.
It's so beautiful.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have it on tonight. I'll wear it next week. I'll wear it and kind of show it off. It is.
You can wear it Sunday night when Aaron Donald's throwing Justin Fields into the turf.
Yeah, no, I know.
For those of you that haven't seen it, it's on our Twitter feed at Basically Sports. You can see the pictures of it. It is just, I think it is one of the best patches in the history of jersey patches.
Thanks.
Very nice. Yeah.
I mean, I did like no work. All I did was made the damn design, and then I paid people to make and apply it to the uniform. So, but it's gotten a very cool response. There's a lot of people who have been contacting me, probably a few dozen, who are just like, tell me exactly how you made this. I'm going to get it made for myself. And I'm hoping that at least a scattered few of them will make their own MVP patches, and I think that'd be pretty kick-ass to see that patch on other Bears jerseys.
I mean, think of what it's doing. This is creating, this is salvaging so many Trubisky jerseys that were bought over the past few years.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's a tongue-in-cheek thing. It's a sense of humor thing. And I don't know which one of you suggested it, because I feel like it was one of you guys that said, get a patch and make an MVP.
I think it was Zach.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
Yeah.
So I mean, if anything, compliment Zach. Yeah, say like forward all compliments to @Zach Cav, and just be like, great idea, dude, great patch.
Oh God, you're gonna send the people who were pissed off about it to him now.
Oh yeah, well, fuck those people. Don't
worry about them.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Like, I mean, seeing it on the jersey, like it really, it works. It's pretty. Because now somebody could be like, oh, Trubisky, and then they'll turn around and be like, oh, MVP? Oh, my God, that's right. He did. That's great, dude. Because, like, now you've taken what's, as you said yourself in your post about it, you redeemed what was ultimately a bad purchase into now it's funny and shows that not only are you a Bears fan that wasted money on a Trubisky jersey, but you're a true, like, in the weeds Bears fan where it's like, oh, no. He knows. He knows what he's doing, and this is fun.
Right.
This is something bad that's not fun. Yeah.
And I like the jersey. I mean, I like the make of it. I like the number 10 and everything. And then all of a sudden it's just like, I'm not the kind of person who usually buys jerseys that are of players that are unproven. And I took a big risk and it didn't pay off. So it's like, this is fun. And again, like, I think people who see it, Bears fans and some NFL fans who will see it and go like, okay, I got it. Like it's just kind of like a little like, hey, my guy sucks, my team's bad, but it's like I'm aware of it and we're just having fun here, kind of thing. But it's cool. It's one of those things to where it's a unique opportunity, because obviously there's only ever been one MVP so far. And he was the first. So maybe next year, if there's I don't know if it's going to be a playoff game again. I think they announced they were going to do it again.
Another playoff game.
So who knows? Who knows who the next
Another
one will be?
Wild Card game, I believe.
Wait, have to make another Nickelodeon game this year?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That would be great.
Yeah. But so I mean that's a pretty cool patch. Go to @BasicallySports if you want to see the details for it, and if you go to my @BearsOffbeat if you want the ping image, the PNG image, and the link to the Etsy shop that made it and things like that. All the information is there. So
cool.
You're gonna end up moving a lot of eBay Trubisky jerseys for a lot of people now.
I hope so. Good luck, everybody. God bless you. Yeah.
But yes, but speaking of patches, we are going into our 10th season of Basically a Sports Show. So our patch would be, how do they work it? It's like 10 seasons and then the 10th season or something like that.
10th season, and then next year we do 10th anniversary.
Right. Yeah. So
and we double that merchandising
double
revenue.
the merch. Yeah.
Yeah. So those of you with your Basically a Sports Show jerseys, that's the proper protocol for the 2 patches we're going to do.
I mean, that is definitely something to consider for we should get a Basically Sports hat or something with 10 years, some kind of X sigil on it or something. I'll cobble something together.
I found a place that does stickers that you can get them pretty cheap. Like we could get 50, I mean, it's just a sticker, but you can get them for $20.
Right.
So, but we'll do something. Yeah.
We'll figure something out. Yeah.
What are you going to say, Zach?
No, just put an X through Tim Tebow.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it'll
That's
be
what we
simple.
called the logo back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he'll always be Tim Tebow to me.
Yeah, he's still in there. He's still part of the current logo. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's much more sophisticated, and we lost Zach.
He'll be back.
The garbage people finally get to him.
Silenced him after years or weeks of we can't have our production exposed on your podcast. I'm guessing it's the old I clicked the wrong button thing.
Yeah, there he goes. He's back. Yeah, Michael Walker was asking me last night, since we had to move to Tuesday this week. He said, "Are we going to get the trash again?"
Oh well,
I don't think so. Zach, your trash.
Well, it was Labor Day.
Oh, yesterday. So yeah, we might still get the trash then. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Michael. I gave you bad information.
The trash cans are full. Can confirm that the trash has not been picked up today.
All right.
I don't know if they just rotated it to the end of the week now or what, but normally I would see some trash can movement, trash truck movement by now. So I don't know if it'll happen today, but yeah.
Well,
sorry.
it could. So we could still have it, but yeah. So we're
pins and needles.
Remarkably, we are going into our 10th season of doing this show, which I don't think any of us at the beginning thought it would ever last this long. Not because it was bad or because it wasn't fun. It's just that's a long damn time to do anything. I don't care what it is, job.
Especially something we weren't exactly we didn't take it too seriously. It's all been extremely casual. Well, that's what I mean. It's an extremely casual enterprise. We haven't fished for subscribers. We haven't tried to get ads. We haven't really tried to grow.
I'm sitting here with
more like radio days. But
I'm sitting here with a thing of cookies just to show you how laid back I am at the moment.
I have a cat in my lap and I'm drinking Coca-Cola. And
well, I feel like the podcast. I mean, obviously, I feel like I can't be overly complimentary about it. You guys carried the show for the better part of the decade.
While I was Andy.
I lost my smile. I had to go and rebuild my smile.
What do you expect from a Shawn Michaels fan? All right.
Was it for 8 years? Was it gone for 8 years?
Actually, yeah.
Because it was 20. I left it mid 2014.
You left after the first year, and you came back last year. So that.
I thought I did it for I feel like I did it for 2 years.
No, yeah, he did it for 2 years. He did it for 2
1
years.
year.
Yeah,
1 year.
You did it longer.
It was the first 50 some shows, which I don't know what in time frame that is. But you never
Well, if we were doing it once a week,
you're always bouncing in and out too. So it was you were never really completely gone.
Right? But still,
shows here and there, and so yeah.
So the GTOV carried on with him, and
yeah.
Well, no, because we started the GTOV because of Andy,
right?
And if we haven't done a GTOV every year that we did the show,
yes, we have.
We're only on 8. I thought we only did 8.
This is, I think this would be the 9th.
This will be the
9th one.
Yeah. 9th one.
Well, again, math not our strong
I have the
suit,
most.
But I mean, but nobody cares. That's the thing. Is that like, you know, if we can't agree that it's like, well, is it the 9th? Well, I guess it's the 9th. You know, like sure.
You know, again with the planning thing, this is just to show you how laid back it is. I don't think we've ever even discussed like, hey, we should do a 10th anniversary special or fuck that. Just
we're doing the show.
We're doing the show.
Yeah, we're doing the show. You know, listen to the show.
If this was a more professional, not to say that we don't like take our time to make this thing sound okay, but if this was a truly professional enterprise, we'd have all that shit archived and, you know, clipped. And
I've joked that our archive is just a garbage bag in the corner full of tapes.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Every show is archived between 2 different Tumblr sites, and I think I've got most of the files on one of those big, gigantic, like 4 terabyte hard drives. But if you think for a second, I'm going to go back and dig through, what would it be, 500 and some odd shows trying to find highlights? Forget it. Ain't going to happen. You guys want to do it, you know, if somebody out there wants to take all these shows and do it, feel free. But we're not fucking doing it.
Nah, I mean, whatever. You know, like I feel like they
remember it better than we do anyway.
Yeah, reflecting on it is cool, but it's also like, you know, we kind of just, it's like, all right, acknowledge the thing and the stuff, and let's talk about whatever, you know, like it's just another gathering of the 4 of us on the whatever night and talking about sports.
Just hanging out.
But
how many times though, guys, over the years have we had people go, remember when you guys did this? And we're like, no.
Like, I mean, there's certainly a few things that we can remember clearly, like our lounge reports and whatever. But like when someone's like, "Oh, remember that one specific joke?" It's like, nah,
no.
Even when it comes to like in show discussions, I think the only one that I can like truly recall is when we get like heated, and then like so it's like I remember Mike and I fighting about Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and I mean that's.
Yeah, but that's even that. It's like it's forgotten by the end of the show, or you know, the next week for sure. I don't remember. I'm trying to think of like well, I do remember one bit that I always thought was really funny. It was when Andy did the. This was way back at the beginning. He did like the 30-second promo for the show, where it was about. Or no, it was when we were doing the like the post show thing, and he did the bit about. Oh, it was when Robert Griffin III, the Cornball brother, and that writer, I can't remember his name.
Ross Marker.
He made this really funny bit about where you had to spend all your money, and that I remember, but I can't remember the details. I just remember it was really funny. That's what I remember about it. But that's it.
I mean, the big thing that I remember is Lounge Report when Buck called in.
Yeah,
that's cool.
The Lounge is easy to remember. Yeah,
and I was like, you know what, Buck, if you just came on and said, I want to take over your show, I'd let you. Like. This will just be stories of Buck every week.
I mean, who could forget the fucking Admiral? Oh man, if only that thing could be found. That's another
one. Yeah.
That I wasn't even here for that.
No, it's just one of those fucking things where it was almost like never meant to be. Like we talked to the guy for like
a supernova.
30. Yeah, it was a weird but interesting, fascinating experience. And the fucking audio's gone, and it's almost like it's gonna die with us, you know. Like, well, there's never gonna be any other evidence that it ever took place. We might have, you know.
It was like we had reeled in Moby Dick, and he was on the deck of the boat, and we had him, and then the fucker like did something and fell back into the water, and we're like, well,
that's why he's the white whale, right? Yeah. Like,
yeah, it was fucking weird. It was like a mermaid suddenly popped up on the ship. It's like that's a mythical fucking mermaid right there. And like, hey, you want to talk to me? I'm a mermaid. So you talk to the mermaid for an hour, then it disappears, and suddenly it's like, oh, it's gone. Nobody's ever going to believe that we talked to this mermaid, but it's gone.
Yeah, he was not. Well, I would say good 30 to 45 minutes, right?
Yeah,
it was all hockey talk. It wasn't like you were going to get any insight to the Admiral's personality, really.
No, yeah, no. It was just a person who is extremely hesitant to usually be that forthcoming with themselves. And I mean, we didn't call him by his real name or anything, but like just to hear his voice, it was a small miracle to be like, of course that's what the Admiral sounds like. Of course it is. Like it's so perfect. And
I would venture to say that there are, I don't know, 25, 30,000 members on those boards. And I'd almost be willing to bet you we are the only 3 that have ever spoken to him in person.
Maybe. I would say it's a strong likelihood.
If it's not just us 3, it's a very small circle, I promise.
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Less than probably less than 5 or 6.
Yeah. But so that's a big one. Yeah. But the lounge reports, especially the first one, were really fun. The first one and the third one were great. The second one was a little iffy.
The second one was a bit off.
Yeah, but you know, and then we've got, of course, the ever famous Tank, who is now a media superstar with Barstool Sports.
We were there.
We were the first call on our first lounge report.
Guys, I was in an online discussion maybe a few days ago. And someone who I barely know, who is not part of the CCSLC, dropped a Frank GIF.
Yeah.
In the discussion. And I was like, brother, if you only knew.
I mean, you know, he was on there when I joined. Well, he's one of the original 6 basically on the boards.
Mm-hmm.
For the longest time, he had the most posts of anyone. Of course, most of them were just correct and fuck you or whatever. But yeah, and then the whole thing happened with the New Jersey transit system, and he became what he is today. But we're like, well, we've known this guy for like 15 years at this point. And I guess we I always say if we hadn't banned him, that would have never happened because we wouldn't have unleashed him on the world like that. He would have just come to the boards and bitched about it, and that would have been it.
He was just our internet message board jester.
Yeah.
And now he's hanging out with the Florida State cheerleaders courtesy of Barstool.
So, yeah.
And he was
private jets.
Yeah. He was the guy, he's the homeless guy that was shouting gibberish and soiling themselves that when you're going to work and there's this random shouting, just just foul and stinking and kind of like, oh man, that's Crazy Pete over there just doing his thing, being all weird and nasty. But it's just kind of like that. He's just part of the background of the urban wasteland that I'm traveling through. And suddenly it's like he gets on TV and now Crazy Pete, the random homeless shouting meth head, is a celebrity. And it's like, okay, have fun with Crazy Pete. He's just fucking lunatic, whatever.
The absolute worst.
Absolute worst. It loses something if you don't have the visual of the hat falling down.
The hat falling down when he yells. Yeah.
I even made a little. I called it the tanketing, and I made like a movie preview out of it. And I was very proud of the way I timed that hat falling to something. I don't remember what, but
I vaguely recall this. It was good stuff.
It was yeah. He's I mean. You can say what you want about. I'm trying to find it. Here we go. I got to play it really quick, guys. Hang on.
The absolute worst.
There you go.
There we go.
He's part of the equivalent of the Stern Whack Pack. Dennis that's a very good description. The Stern Whack Pack. That's Tank, except it's Barstool, not Stern, but basically the same idea, where you're taking people that clearly have some issues. And I'm not going to delve into what I think Tank's issues are, but that do have some issues, and you exploit them for your own brand or your own personal gain or whatever. And I think that a little bit of that. I mean, he knows sports. There's one thing about Tank. He does know his stuff.
Right. He's being exploited in a way, but I don't think Barstool's done him dirty.
No, I don't either.
I think they take care of him. If it wasn't for Barstool, I don't know what the hell he'd be doing with his life.
I'm almost positive that he ended up leaving. He was a
court reporter, right?
Court reporter for some county or court in New Jersey. I'm pretty sure he left that job and he's full time at Barstool now. So good for him.
Yeah, he's always I don't follow Barstool, but because it is what it is, it just shows up in my feed.
Right.
But I see him in the background of all these videos, like he's hanging out with those dudes all the time, and maybe they take the piss out of him a little bit, but I don't think they're outwardly mean to the guy.
I've seen him get in arguments with people like Tank. I'm tired of you. You're like they got in a fight about a Mets game because Tank and those Mets. Jesus Christ. They it's the first inning. They like the first guy strikes out, and Tank's like, "That's it, they suck." So one guy's like, "I'm just sick of this, dude. Knock it off." But anyway, so there you go. That was Tank was the first caller to our first Lounge Report, and now he's famous, and we're still sitting here doing this, and nobody knows who we are.
But I'd rather be doing this than be hanging out with fucking Barstool and just being a glorified clown.
Yeah. Andy, you weren't with us when we tried this more like radio thing, were you?
I was.
Yeah. No, he was.
Yeah. I mean, that was part of what kind of burned me out was, I mean, for the longest time, I was essentially just like hosting and producing, just kind of trying to do too much. And I was, I had a tumultuous relationship going on at the time. I had a lot of like just addressed like mental things. I was not like huge things, just wellness kind of things. I killed a few homeless people underneath. Wait, what?
I mean, who had? We've all been there. It's okay.
Yeah, what's the big deal about that?
Yeah, I mean, seeing the light leave their eyes is the best part. That way, I get their souls, and anyway, did some DDP yoga, and came back to the show. But I mean, yeah, the more like radio thing was sort of like a big weird thing that kind of we tried to take a little bit more seriously and promote it a little bit more. And it was a good experience, but I mean, by the time we were done with it, I was like, Jesus, fuck this.
It was interesting to say the least.
Yeah,
I will still maintain that we were the best show on that network by leaps and bounds.
Oh yeah,
and just we were the only ones that weren't on there like doing basically a sex show, which we were just so out of place on that network.
A lot of just drunk racists, just bad. There's only one show that I liked on there, and there was one guy who would get up every morning or every weekend morning by himself, do like a 3-hour show about golf and drinking beer, and it would just be like this really chill show.
You know what? I can respect that guy. It's like, welcome to Bob's Beer and Golf Show.
He was, and it wasn't just like I'm drinking a Natty Light. It's like he'd drink nice beers, and then he'd talk about both his golf game and just the world of golf. So it was kind of like
went out to the driving range, had an IPA, and a good Sunday.
Yeah, it was just it was a relaxing thing compared to like Bubba and company in this guy's basement saying racial slurs while one of their wives shouted downstairs to them to shut the fuck up.
Well, there was former he might still be on there. I'm not even sure, but JQK.
Well, I mean,
that's how we found that out.
That network had the types of shows that you would expect from JQK.
But you see, the thing I always found about that, because Dennis brought up Howard Stern, which is another good comparison here. If you think that all that makes Howard Stern is that he just goes on and says things like, sexual stuff and all that, you really don't get how the show works at all.
Yeah,
because if that's all it was, then it becomes the JQK and that poor girl that had to be subjected to that bullshit that he was doing on that more like radio. Yeah, there's nothing funny about it. What made Howard Stern was he could do that stuff, be funny, and have some self-awareness about it. And I don't know that that's the case with these shit shows that we were on there with. But anyway,
I can't tell if the live thing is still running there, but they have at least 2 podcasts that they post on their homepage. One is just called Daywave Radio, which whatever.
What, date rape radio?
Daywave.
Okay.
Wow.
Daywave.
Wouldn't surprise me.
And then the other one, which isn't too far from what you just said, Greg. Revenge of the Cis, CIS.
Oh, come on.
Date rape radio, in other words.
Revenge of the Cis male, I would assume.
Date rape radio, my God. You're listening to Date rape radio right here.
Dude, be honest. When we were on that thing, would you have been a bit surprised if they'd had a show called that? I wouldn't have been. I'm like, yeah, sounds about right.
There's only, according to like the schedule that they have posted, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shows that are still in operation. But on the main site here, they have a whole list going down the side of old show names that let's just go through a couple. 360 on 420, Alcohol by Volume, Antisocial Gamer Radio,
Oh, I bet you that's just full of the most enlightened people.
Deep V. GOT Wieners and such.
Oh boy.
Let's see. What else is going on here? Masters of None. Papa's Basement. Planet of the Dorks.
I think
Rage Quit Radio.
We were there.
Screw You Guys. Tattoos and Touchdowns.
All right.
The Penalty Box, which was JQK's show.
Which one?
The Penalty Box. I believe that was JQK's.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, guys, the trash has arrived. So.
Oh, good.
Right. Thank God. I was
Michael
worried.
Walker. There you go. Trash is here. You didn't miss it this week after all. Well, anyway, so yeah, there's our retrospective on 10 years of doing the sports show and where the fuck it came from and where it went, but that was it.
There you go. There's your 10-year retrospective. Now,
I think though, in all honesty, that's the perfect retrospective for this show because it just kind of went down a rabbit hole, and we just said, yeah, that's enough of that, and move forward.
And we read from a list for a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had many different iterations, but I think we've canceled all that shit over the years, and now we do this as casually as possible once a week, where we just get together on this thing.
Little work as possible.
Well, no, but like what I mean is like we have done so many different versions of the show where we try too hard to like organize it or produce it or put together like themes and whatever. And at the end of the day, when we do our best shit is sometimes the weeks that we have nothing at all on the schedule, and we just sit down and we plop it on. And now it's not even a thing where Greg, you're recording it and adding in all the sound bits, on the backside. Like we sit here, we do it live, and we're in and we're out, and that's it.
Yep.
Like it's this is as distilled as it can be.
Yeah, low stress.
I think it's what we do best.
I do miss the sound effects sometimes, though. I've got to say.
Well, there's some sound effects going on right now. How about?
There we go. There we go.
There we go.
There was some. There you go. There was one podcast I briefly listened to. It was like 12 years ago, where the guy, it was like a politics tongue-in-cheek show, but the guy would get in a raging froth, and he had this sound effect clip where it sounded like he was sweeping like 20 soda cans off of his desk, made like a giant crashy noise. So he'd be like, "Goddamn, blah 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 blah," and he's so it sounded like he's just losing his shit in his little office there, and he played it like all the time, but it worked. It was just because it was a bit. It was all a bit. Anyway, we can totally move on. We got NFL picks to get through, and
I got to play one more sound effect because I don't know what it is. It says Bass-Zach MB3. So let's see what this is, and then we'll move on.
Hey, Ryan Kessler.
Oh, never mind. I remember that one. That was when he was. All right. So NFL, right?
Okay.
So what I could do is we can kind of fuse the picks with the kind of game speculations. That way we're not having redundancy. So what I'm going to have you guys do, because the wheel site is down for some reason right now, is I'll just have you guys pick a number between 1 and 16, and that will choose the game that you get.
Okay.
All right. Now I'm excited for this. Got to defend my championship. So
number one.
Yeah.
I believe we've got a little bit of, we don't have the wheel, but I have a little music for this. Okay. That Wheel of Fortune, I'm pretty sure. All right, I got to put that damn thing away. I'm going to drive everybody nuts. All right, so okay, yeah, let's do it.
Pick a number, Mike. Defending champion.
I will pick 15.
Ooh. Okay, you are choosing the Los Angeles Rams and the Chicago Bears.
Ooh. This is a prime time game.
Sunday night football.
Sunday night football got two Bass teams, And I believe it's going to be the debut of the modern throwbacks for the Rams. So
yeah,
and it's like the first televised like national game where going to have a crowd. Are they going to have a crowd?
Or they're going to have fans and
I mean, they've had people during the preseason games, obviously, but this will be the first regular season game with fans at SoFi Stadium. So that's exciting.
So I have never really brought it up. I've never really brought it up, but I believe that anyone who's listened to the show for any length of time and has paid attention might be able to tell that the Bears are my irrational confidence titans.
Oh no!
I don't know why.
Mike, no.
I don't know why, but I always want good things for them, and I always want them to be like, and like I always feel like they can achieve more than they constantly do.
We all want good things to happen to the Bears eventually, but like, believe us are confident about it.
And so part of me wants to say, they got a new QB, future's looking good, but
the new QB's on the bench to start the game.
Yeah. You got Andy Dalton for reasons. But I mean, ultimately, the Rams have a new QB too. And the Rams, constantly manage to get to the top or near the top of an NFC West that's stacked. And so I got it. You know what? As much as I want to give some love to the Bears, I'm sorry, Andy, but I got to give it to the Rams. I think they're going to win this easy.
No, I think they're going to kick the Bears' ass.
Yeah.
The Bears fan. The Bears fan. Yep. No, you're right. It's gonna be ugly.
Rams are favored by 7.5, and that feels generous. The Bears are they've got some decent things going for them, but overall, I think they're just run by a bunch of con artists at this point, and I think that they're going to have a really bad season, and I think the Rams are going to just wipe their ass with them, and I think it's going to be a blowout.
Look, I think the Rams defense is still going to be good. Like their new defensive coordinator and Raheem Morris. But I mean, still all the same talent on defense, so I don't think defense is a problem. If there's anything that'll make this game closer than it needs to be, it's the fact that, yes, the Rams do have a new QB, and they are trying to implement some new stuff, and none of these guys have actually played a game together yet.
Yeah, because
of the what the Rams do in the preseason, where nobody of consequence ever will play a preseason game for the Rams at any point.
I mean,
if there's anything that trips them up, it's that the offense isn't clicking quite yet. But I don't know anything about what the Bears are doing besides the quarterback situation of it all. So
why is Fields not starting? Is it just he didn't have a good preseason, or what happened?
He had a great preseason. He had the best preseason of any quarterback that played in the preseason. But they signed Dalton. They want Dalton to start, and they are going to start Dalton.
They promised Dalton that he was starting when they signed him. So
I don't think it's the promise of the starting job. I think it was that I think they didn't want to throw Fields right into the fire right away, especially against the Rams. Because the offensive line of the Bears is it's bad, and they have a lot of problems. They drafted Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma to start at left tackle. He had a lot of back problems coming into the draft, and what do you know? He's got back problems, and he's had back surgery, and he's probably going to miss most of the season. Who's their backup at left tackle? Nobody. They have they've had 4 different guys try to play left tackle, and they signed Jason Peters, 40 years old. He's fucking fishing out in Texas or something, and they're like, "Hey, you want to play offensive tackle?" He's like, "Fuck, fine, whatever." And so it's going to be bad. Like Aaron Donald's going to have a huge have a field day.
Fields might get to play after all when Andy Dalton is murdered.
Yeah. Same thing. Like by the third quarter,
Andy Dalton knows how to take a hit.
Yeah, I mean, well, Fields will. I think he's going to play anyway, because I think that Matt Nagy, being the gimmick coach that he is going to have a bunch of these goofy bullshit Fields plays where he comes out there as like a decoy wide receiver or some nonsense.
Right, and they never even look at him once.
If they do that, that would be silly because I mean I saw him more as like a classic drop back quarterback when he was at Ohio State. Now, I mean, he could run a little bit, but let's not act like he's Michael Vick or something here, you know?
I mean, I don't know, man. Like he runs, he's fast as fuck. I mean, he can go. But I mean, you know, compared to Andy Dalton, I mean, Andy Dalton can move a little bit, but I mean, like comparatively, he's totally different. But anyway, we'll chronicle the Justin Fields saga over this season because that's obviously going to be the story for this team. But this week in LA, no, that is not going to be the time. We can just. I mean, is it as bad as Mike Glennon? No, but it's not far off. Greg, pick a number between 1
4
and 4. Okay, 4. Okay, you are choosing between the Seahawks and the Colts, and the Colts Seahawks are favored by 2.5.
Where is this game being played?
At Indianapolis.
Okay. And
is Carson Wentz isn't back yet, is he?
It is assumed that he will start.
Well, so he met the lower end of the 5 to 12 week range he was given.
So basically all the horror, scary stuff about the surgery stuff he had. I don't think he's going to be 100%, especially with mobility. But as far as being able to like handle playing quarterback, generally he should be fine.
Again, I just find that 5 to 12 weeks.
That's a pretty broad range for sure.
Yeah,
man,
he's playing.
The smart person would pick the Seahawks just because, but I hate those bastards.
Yeah.
And I hate Russell Wilson.
Yes.
Well chronicled.
Right. That's what we did for the 7 years you weren't on the show, Andy. We bitched about Russell Wilson the whole time,
which is great.
Even in the offseason, just like that son of a bitch. He's probably just driving around with a tuxedo in his car right now.
And I will also say too that for as magical and as pulling horseshoes out of his ass as he is in Seattle, he doesn't have that on the road. I'm going to take the Baltimore-Indianapolis Colts of Indiana to win this game.
All right, very good. All right, Zach.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think the Seahawks. I mean, 12-4 last year won the division. Still, this is the end. I think. Like, if I would not be surprised at all if they just imploded this season.
Yeah.
Based on, just declining play and some of the drama they've dealt with over the last year and a half, and I think that team's ready to just fall off a cliff.
We say that about them a lot, and
I know, but I think
right off.
I mean, again, because we said this division is stacked, so like the Rams are in theory better. Like they should be one of the 2 or 3 favorites in the NFC to go to the Super Bowl. The 49ers should be better, and even if one of their quarterbacks gets injured, they have a second one to throw in, so that they won't fall off a cliff like they did when Garoppolo got hurt. Arizona, Kyler Murray is getting better. The offense is better. The defense is better. That team is unfortunately going to be a thorn in everyone's side. So if all of a sudden the Seahawks end up not making the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised one bit, just because of everything else going around them.
Yeah, and I would be thrilled if that happened.
I think we all would.
Yeah.
And then the Colts, that's a team with a giant asterisk of like, when you're looking at like the schedule of a playoff series, and it's if necessary, for games 5, 6, 7, the Colts successes are asterisk by if Carson Wentz is healthy, if this happens.
I think this game has got this is a game that's going to be a classic overreaction Monday game.
Oh, 100%.
Where the Colts are going to win. They're going to go, hey, look, with Carson Wentz, they're pretty good. And you're going to go, probably not. And the Seahawks are going to lose and go, look, that's it. They're finished. So that's another reason why I picked the Colts. It's just got overreaction Monday written all over it. So I'm with the Colts all the way on that one.
Yeah.
I think it's a good week to pick, to be a little more aggressive with picking teams that are like coming off of successful seasons. Like, I mean, the Colts did pretty well for themselves with Rivers last year. And And I think they're in a weird place now, but they are definitely in a position to have a pretty fun start against a team whose arrow you hope is trending down. So
yeah,
I'm rooting for them.
All right.
Zach, pick a number, sir, between 1 and 16.
9.
9. Okay, you are getting the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cleveland Browns. Browns at Chiefs. Let me see what the line for that is. Cleveland is Browns. It's 6 points, so that's the margin.
Yeah,
-6.
So this is, I think that this, Greg, is another Overreaction Monday special.
I agree.
Where, because literally, I've turned on ESPN the last few days over the weekend as college football was being played and some soccer games were being played. I was, just watching highlights and whatever. But every single day for like 4 days straight, I heard nothing but talk about the Chiefs and this perfect record they have in September. And oh my gosh, they get off to such good starts all the time. Blah, 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 blah. But again, this is a thing where, like, if the Browns can beat the Chiefs, it's like, well, no. Have the Chiefs slipped? Are the Browns ready to take their throne? And oppositely, if the Chiefs win again, it's like, oh, well, here's the Chiefs. They're going to go 16-0. And then here's the Browns, like, they still don't have it. They're not good enough. This is a good one. This is a good one too.
I'll just give you a little fuel for the fire too. I don't remember the last season the Browns won their opener, but it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs might have a great record in September, but February not so hot.
I mean, they did win the year before. Like, this team has won a Super Bowl.
He doesn't care about that. He just wants to rub it in one more time that the Bucks beat them.
Yes, your brand new shiny toy won.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're the guy.
Hey, I'll be at opening night. So.
Oh, okay.
Did you see, so sorry. By the way, did you see that Tom Brady is going to be named the #1 NFL player of all time on the NFL's 100 players list? They do a new list every 10 years.
Oh, it really?
I think so. Like they just Jim Brown was just named #2, and they're going to announce #1 in a few days, and it's obviously going to be Brady. There's nowhere else.
Yeah, they'll probably announce it on Thursday night at the stadium. Yeah, okay. I'll go for Chiefs, Browns. As much as I want to choose chaos and choose the Browns, I think this is a Chiefs game.
I think you're right with the overreaction part of it. I think what you're going to see is that the Browns are going to probably not even cover that 6 points, and or not even. I think they're going to get their asses handed to them, and it's going to be like, oh, they're not as good. Chiefs are, I think that's going to be your overreaction Monday. I'm with you. I would not have picked the Browns either.
No,
what a hell of a way to start the season for them. Jesus, they're finally.
I know the rematch of the playoff game, like
the divisional round.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're the Browns, it lets you know exactly where you are early and let you know what you need to do for 16 more weeks.
Okay, it's a fine litmus test, I guess. We'll see. Greg, go ahead and pick a number for me, and between 1 and 16, and I'll get my matchup here.
Let's do 12.
12. And it looks like I will be having to choose between the Minnesota Vikings at the Cincinnati Bengals.
That's a tough call.
Yeah, I hate the Vikings too. I just don't. I mean, both those teams are going to be. Those are the bottom two teams in that division, right? Or no, they're separate divisions, but bottom teams in their respective north.
Well, you've got. Are you gonna take a flyer on anti-vaxxer and anti-masker Kirk Cousins?
No. I think. I don't. I mean, as always, like you can never trust the Bengals. There's just something about that
Joe
franchise
Burrow coming off ACL.
But then again, the Vikings are just unreliable as shit. Like everything they do seems like it's kind of a hackneyed thing, and I think there's a lot of like internal strife in that franchise that even a tough ass red ass coach cannot handle, cannot repair. But the Bengals are the Bengals, and I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm choosing chaos. I'm gonna go with the Bengals to win this one.
That would have been my pick. I'd go with the Bengals.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow's going to be back, and I think the Bengals are going to be a one of those pesky like bad. What would it be? A good bad team? Yeah, they're going to be a good bad team this year. I think.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's our picks. Do you want to go through the remainder of the schedule?
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. We got, and I've got the
So they open Thursday night. Let's give Mike some room. Talk about his Buccaneers.
Go ahead.
They host the Cowboys.
Well, I will be like I said, I'll be at the game, so that'll be fun. First ever NFL opening game for me, so it'll be a fun experience.
Oh, you're going to the game? Cool, good.
Yes, I will be at the stadium.
Watch them raise the flags on the pirate ship. Yep.
On the pirate ship, yes. I don't. I don't really know what to expect, honestly, for the team this season. They returned most of their. I know they returned all of their Super Bowl starters, which I think is either an all-time first or a modern era first, at least. So that obviously, you'd think is good. At the same time, Brady is another year older, so the wheels have to fall off eventually. So,
well, do they?
It's one of those things where it's like I'm not picking it one way or the other, but the way that I see it is, I jumped on this team. I got extremely lucky in that the greatest quarterback of all time decided to play for them after I adopted them, and then it was just a fun season. It was a fun season watching them, do what they did, watching them win the Super Bowl, being in town as they won the Super Bowl. It was kind of just a surreal experience. And so, honestly, I'm at the point where everything else is just gravy. I don't really know what to expect. I don't know if this team's going to come out dominant or if they're going to, maybe struggle. I don't know I don't know how many years Brady has left. I hope he hangs on for at least one more season because I just want that. Because next season is when they're going to be bringing back the creamsicle throwbacks, and I want a creamsicle Brady jersey. I think that would just be great.
I think we're going to get one of those whether he plays or not, probably.
But I think so. So honestly, it's kind of me playing with house money. I don't really know what to expect out of him. I kind of have a sneaking suspicion, not necessarily that the team will be bad, but that Dallas might actually win the first game, and then that'll be an overreaction Monday situation, where probably then both teams, get to where they probably are, later in the season. I don't really know. I'm just kind of enjoying having a good team. So, yeah, I don't know. Go Bucks. Hope it's a good game on Thursday, and if they can be a good football team for another year, that would be super.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, Dak Prescott's coming back. People are already putting too much expectation on that team, and I think it's usual,
the Cowboys,
right? As usual, just not warranted in any fashion. Like that is completely like a team that needs to show me what they're good at. And
I mean, they had a couple of games before Dak got hurt where they would win. They lost like 41-38, or they'd win 41.
They did beat Atlanta in one of those collapses.
Yeah, well, that's Atlanta. You can't count that. That's against Atlanta. That was
that bullshit onside kick where the Falcons just stood around like idiots.
Oh my god! One of the all-time Falcons blunders, despite it being a random regular season game. Just like know the rules of the sport you're playing, please. Like,
I think it was because it was like a 99.9% probability of victory at one point, and it's like, wow.
Well, you know what the Falcons do with those. You get to that point, you almost got to bet they're going to lose at that point, right? If it's 50, they're going to win, you go, maybe they might pull it off. But if it's like 99% certain, you're like, fuck, they are going to lose, and we all know it. We all know it.
Yeah, the Cowboys need to do anything before I think they're even warranted talking about, because
look at the bright side.
So many of the same pieces on that team, and I don't know what they think they are. But
Ezekiel Elliott's going to be going to his 6th, 7th season now.
Yeah, you got Zeke, you got Dak, it's just, I don't know, man.
That's a lot of miles on a running back, 7 years worth.
Sunday morning, Jacksonville, Houston. Trevor Lawrence makes his debut. Houston starts Tyrod Taylor instead of Deshaun Watson.
What's the status on that? Is Deshaun Watson
not playing until
sex criminal?
No, it's just they're not. I don't think they're playing him until they know.
Yeah, it's Tyrod Taylor's already been announced to start.
Yeah.
Question: Will the Chargers stabbed him in the lung? But the Houston Texans have somehow managed to become an even more dysfunctional football team than the Santa Mesa Chargers have. So
right, when you get stabbed in the lung and the next team you go to is even worse, that's bad.
Yeah. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen with Tyrod Taylor and the Texans when he turns down the quote unquote optional evangelical conversion? What happens to him?
Well, there are options here, because they just, I think if I read it right, they're allowed to just carry guns with, just like, you want to carry a gun. So there's a halfway decent chance he could get shot. I mean, better probably than any other state.
Man, it's such a dumpster fire division again. Like Jacksonville, Houston, Indy, and Tennessee. Like Tennessee is COVID.
Tennessee's going to win just by.
No, they're going to go 0-16 because they're going to forfeit every game because they're going to be so infected with COVID all year.
Oh, that's right.
And then the Colts have whatever is left of Carson Wentz. The Texans are starting Tyrod Taylor instead.
Do the Texans win more than 3 games this year? I don't think so.
The Texans?
The Texans, 3.
Look, they have. Look, okay.
Depends on if they can beat Jacksonville twice. I think that.
Regardless of what Tyrod Taylor might or might not be guilty of, he is still a better quarterback than Tyrod Taylor. And this team hasn't made any real significant personnel changes except at quarterback. And they've got the head coach, who was the wide receiver coach for the Chiefs that year. They went a whole season without an offensive touchdown pass. So, and they're being run by a failed stand-up comedian youth pastor. And they won only a few games with Tyrod, with Watson. So, yeah, no, this team's going to be lucky to break 3 wins. I'm going to go out on a limb and say we might be looking at an 0-16.
0-17. 0-17
would be this
year.
0-17? You don't think? You don't think so?
They'll find a way.
I wouldn't rule it out entirely. I think it's certainly
they're not all time bad like some of those Jaguars teams were.
That Browns team wasn't all time bad either, though.
Yeah.
But no. The only thing that I think is going to stop them from going 0-17 is the fact that the rest of their division, as Zach said, is so garbage that
they'll
any game
backwards into a win over even the Colts.
Any game between those two, between teams from those divisions, is essentially a toss-up. So they'll win one eventually, if at least one of those divisional games.
And Dennis makes a good point. If Tyrod Taylor wanted to stay away from needles, he found the right team.
That's true. They've replaced needles and probably doctors in general with love for the Lord.
Yeah. Yes.
And guns.
Guns. Well, it's Texas. It's Texas. President Bible Gun.
President Bible Gun will see to it, everyone. Don't.
Next on the listing is Chargers versus football team. I see some places trying to style these Chargers and the fervor around Justin Herbert as some sort of possible Super Bowl team. And,
no, sir.
I don't know about that, but they'll be better. They'll be better than they have been. But
as someone who escaped from Chargers living room, no. I understand that they're going in with a lot of hype because they've got a good young QB. You fools. I have been a fan of this team where they had a lot of hype and a good young QB. And best case,
they played in the city where people actually wanted to go see them.
Best case scenario, this team makes the playoffs, blows a lead, and misses a field goal, and you're right back to sadness. So no,
like they're not winning the division because Mahomes and the Chiefs will run it. So I think they're a playoff team, but all this overblown hype is a little too much. Like this is the San Diego Chargers of Costa Mesa of Los Angeles. This team does not your expectations are merely fodder for 3 blown leads in a row to start the season. All right, they will christen they will christen the season with a missed field goal where they still shoot off fireworks.
Oh, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Do you guys know who the head coach of the Chargers is?
No.
Yes, Brandon Staley.
Okay, good for you. I was seeing if anyone would actually know who it was.
He was the Rams defensive coordinator last year, and I was very mad that they let him go. So
plus for him, he doesn't have to move,
right?
Or potentially even change shirts.
Say he's still wearing all his Rams shit. They don't even.
it's all blue and yellow. It's fine.
Right. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. By the way, early problems that people found in the preseason games at SoFi Stadium. The parking lot sucks. So I look forward to. I am going October 3rd. When they play the Cardinals. I
mean, would it truly be authentically Los Angeles if something involving cars wasn't terrible?
No, of course not. But apparently it's like supremely terrible because the thing that people don't realize is surrounding the stadium is not directly next to the freeway. You have to get a little bit to it. And really the things that are directly around it are neighborhoods. So people are like, it's not as convenient as people would like to think. The other thing was the Wi-Fi was apparently terrible, so hopefully they fix that. And the hot dogs were pretty pathetic looking, so see how that plays out.
Just get popcorn, play it safe.
Yeah. For football team, do we know who is quarterback of football team?
Quarterback is quarterback of football team.
If you want football team.
It is. I'm totally not Googling this.
Is it Colt Brennan? No, not what was it?
Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Ryan Fitzpatrick made his way to football team.
So did we get a little Fitz magic? He's had plenty of time to prepare. So there's that.
Yeah. They got him. They have Taylor Heineke, which is the guy who kind of emerged a little bit.
Right.
And Kyle Allen, formerly of the Carolina Panthers.
Wow. Could you imagine being a football team fan? I'd just be like, fuck, I'm not even bothering at this point.
Remember, this is the great football team that won the division at 7-9 last season. So
they deprived us of a 6-10.
Couldn't lose one more game, could you? Nope.
No, then we would have had a 3-way tie at 6-10. So
right, that's what I mean. They can't even get screwing up right. They fuck up bad.
Their net points last season were +6.
Hey,
wow! They finished it.
That's into the black. All right,
where is this game?
At football team stadium.
Oh boy.
At stadium.
At football stadium.
There we go.
At allotted grass location.
Right. Jets Panthers. This is only interesting because Sam Darnold is going to start for the Panthers. So
against what's his name? The
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
Mom. Yeah.
Whitey McRich.
He's been around black people yet. He's still
he's gonna have his like an antiquated antebellum servant bring him like Gatorade on the sideline. Like thank you, Remus. You know, and just like
Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna look like a fucking caricature.
I think Sam Darnold's going to do great for the Panthers. I think this is a team that could be a surprise in that division.
I mean, is that a good story though? I mean, Sam Darnold he's just a pudwack. I just don't really care for him. Sam Darnold, he's got those faces that just deserves to be punched, just pretty regularly.
Okay, but think about it this way. This is the division. Like, you have the Buccaneers and Tom Brady. We'll assume that they're going to win the division because the Saints are being quarterbacked by Jameis Winston.
Whoa, that's going to be awesome.
Well, we are on the downward slope in Saints land. That team is not.
Yes, the heir to Drew Brees is Jameis Winston. That's something. Yeah, and then the Panthers have Sam Darnold, and the Falcons are still trotting Matt Ryan out there. So
I can see the Panthers making a little run. Yeah. If Darnold's okay.
I hope Sam Darnold fails. I don't like him. I don't like his neck beard. I don't like his like anti-vaxxer bullshit. I just his head is a cube, and I don't want him to succeed.
You would have thought someone who got mono would be more open to medicine.
What, he's another one?
Yeah, well, he deflects every time it's brought up. It's a personal thing. It's a personal question. It's clearly.
I know a lot about Sam Darnold because he's from the town that I cover. He went to high school here.
Yeah.
And if knowing what I know about this stupid town, it checks out.
Okay. We have the inside scoop.
Yeah.
But I mean, but at the same time, do you want to support the Jets? I mean, like, if anything, this is a meteor game, where it just like you just have a meteor strike the stadium and everyone wins, because
who's coach? Oh, the coach of the Jets is Robert Saleh, right? The 49ers.
The nobody guy, the guy who, like, when he got hired, it's like, wait, check your paperwork, everyone. I didn't see this one on the list.
When he was running the defense in San Francisco, I was always very annoyed with him. So he's a good D guy, but like. That organization is just such a tire fire. Like
Zach Wilson, right? Yeah. Mark Sanchez is going to be a better quarterback. I don't have faith in. Is he the BYU guy?
Yeah, I really liked Wilson's college tape. I really liked. I feel like he's definitely like. In watching his highlights, he had like NFL things he did that I was like, okay, I could see this guy totally being a NFL quarterback. He went too high. But I feel like he could be okay. But starting right out of the gate, but against the Panthers, whatever. I don't
know. Cardinals at Titans.
Oh God.
Well, is there COVID impact on this game? Didn't the Titans already have a bunch of COVID setbacks?
Yeah, but that was during
COVID. I think they like COVID.
I don't think it's affecting the game.
Like, if you trace COVID back in the history of the United States, it started with the Tennessee Titans.
They held a practice in Wuhan.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. This team had COVID issues last season, and now we go into this year, and they're having them again. And it's like, I mean, we've stood on ground zero, man, many months now about like, guys should just get the goddamn vaccine and move on with their lives. But like, if there's anybody that should understand that, you would think it's this group of numbskulls, but. Apparently not. Mike Vrabel and co. Ryan Tannehill and such. Not.
What's with the quarterbacks? All the quarterbacks that are doing this shit. You get Tannehill. What the fuck from Aaron or Darnold, Sam Darnold. Who was the other quarter? Oh, Kirk Cousins.
Famously.
Kirk Cousins, Lamar Jackson.
Well, Lamar Jackson.
I think Lamar Jackson
had it like
Lamar Jackson eventually.
Yeah, didn't he already
he said he eventually was going to get it, but
he got it. He got COVID twice.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it's like, you know what? I'm not even going to bother. Just fuck it, But
yeah,
what's the point?
Arizona's favored on the road by a field goal. So, for whatever that's worth.
Again, people are buying into that Cardinals hype with Kyler Murray and the improving defense and such. I think they could win this game easily,
I think they could too, but this, the Titans. I gotta, with them being like ground zero for COVID, I've probably got to move on my irrational confidence to somewhere else. But I don't know. I think the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals in that game.
Yeah, I feel like I don't think the Cardinals are going to live up to. There's this, for whatever reason, that franchise just always feels unfinished. There's always something that's just not complete. And Kyler Murray, he's really interesting. I think as a quarterback, as a talent, he's definitely interesting. But
8-8 last year, one game out of a playoff spot.
Yeah, I just don't think. Not to say they can't win or compete for the playoffs, but they just feel like they're still missing a few key pieces to really set. But who knows? I mean, again, we're in week 1, but on the surface of this game going into it right now, I would pick the Cardinals myself.
Yeah,
but it's not. I think this is a perfect overreaction game.
Yeah.
Oh,
yep.
No matter
if the Cardinals win by like 14 points, then it's like, oh shit, here they are.
Yeah.
And and we'll be riding that.
We got a couple, 2, 3 more.
It's more than that, unfortunately. Niners Lions, the start of the Jared Goff era in Detroit.
No, what? And the other guy too. What's the coach's name? The knee biter.
Josh Campbell.
Right.
Yeah.
Question: do we have any of the lady or black refs in this game? We got to start a tracker for this.
I'm already out of the competition on when he's going to say something stupid. I said it would be in the preseason. So far he's made it. I guess
you did it in the press conference. Yeah.
He can still fuck up between now and Sunday. But
I think I said week 5, so right. I've got some time. But no, I think that'd be interesting. We got to track to see when if there are any black or female refs in his games, because those are gonna be the ones to keep an eye out on.
Yeah. I just look. I think I defended Jared Goff for many a moon. I want to see him succeed. I mean, it's Detroit though.
Here's the problem. Jared Goff did between well and passable with like offensive wunderkind, McVay coaching.
And plenty of weapons.
What's this guy's name? Jim Campbell? Bob Campbell?
Josh Campbell. Dan Campbell. Yeah. Sorry.
Dan Campbell. I don't know. Coach Campbell, knee biting. Like this guy does not. This guy does not strike me as the type of guy smart enough to like work Goff through his issues like McVay could. So I think it's going to be a dumpster fire.
Well, and I think the fact that it's the 49ers on the other side, and if there's a team that knows how to get to Jared Goff, it's the San Francisco 49ers.
I think the Niners are going to be good this year.
With Kyle Shanahan, I cannot guarantee that anyone will be alive the next season.
It's better than Brian Kelly saying the entire team should be executed.
Yeah.
It's be called the 49ers.
Yeah. We're gonna try to move through this a little bit quicker, I think.
All right,
sure. Don't pick Detroit. Detroit is team chaos this year.
I'm Niners all the way on that. Yeah, Niners all the way.
Pittsburgh, Buffalo,
Bills.
Are the Bills good enough?
Yep.
Are the Bills good enough to go?
Yes, and I think the it's also the other side of the coin where the Steelers are. I think they're in a holding pattern of just kind of hovering around competitive yet not being good enough to transcend.
Roethlisberger's still playing.
Great on defense, and the offense is going to have problems. Is the way I see the Steelers this year.
I think they're always going to be relevant because this franchise is too damn good to like flounder.
I gotta say, Ben's he's past his best buy date. It's not working. Especially not against a team like Buffalo. Buffalo's got Buffalo, there's still some questions there, but they're young. They're a team on the rise. The Steelers are a team that I think is going to be trending downward at least until, honestly, they get a new quarterback. So it's got to be Buffalo.
Well, not only that, but Buffalo has Cole Beasley, leader of the anti-vax movement. Which
I think the only question for the Steelers is, do they continue that streak of winning seasons where they haven't had a losing season in like 16 years?
Yeah, I think so. I think 9-8. They make a run at it, but
I don't know. I think they'll probably do right about 8 and 9. I think they'll be right there. They'll start off the new era with a losing season.
They do. There is that odd number of games, so one way or another, there is no 500 this year.
Well, I guess they could tie. They could do 8-8.
Well, yeah. One tie.
Don't speak that into the universe. I'm not doing that. Eagles Falcons in Atlanta.
Oh wow!
No, this is a toilet
garbage game.
I don't want to.
No, but Eagles going with Jalen Hurts quarterback or not?
Hurts starting,
and then they traded for Gardner Beowulf Minshew the second. Excuse me, the backup there.
I just
who gives a fuck about this game? Move on.
All right.
You know what? No, I'm going to say Eagles. I'm going to say Eagles after the Falcons open up a 20-point lead.
Okay.
I'm going to say, if you're somebody that does bet on football games,
don't bet on
this football game. You are truly a lost.
Your next call should be to Gamblers Anonymous.
This is I don't want to stand within 10 feet of that game. Packers at Saints. Again, the return of Aaron Rodgers and the debut of Jameis Winston.
The Packers. Aaron Rodgers can fuck himself. I fucking hate that guy.
Andy is just sad because he was teased with a possibility that the bad man would go away.
Yeah.
The bad man is back.
He still might, because this is the last year he has a contract, right?
He's done after this year for sure. That's it. He's gone out of Green Bay. That's already been agreed upon. Yep.
All right.
No, he's gonna haunt me for another 10 fucking years. He's taking all the TB12 bullshit, and he's gonna outlive me.
To Chicago just to give a big middle finger to Green Bay.
No, that's not gonna happen. Absolutely not.
Here's what's good. This is going to be the overreaction game of the week. The Saints are going to win. Jameis Winston's going to play well.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, no, Greg. No, I mean, dude, you. I mean, you're a fucking investor. You're a part owner, and you're picking against Aaron Rodgers.
He's not that great. He's Aaron Rodgers, but on the road. Look it up. I think the stats will back me up on this. He has his issues on the road.
Well, okay, but
the Cowboys.
But the big question is, it's our first Jameis Winston starting season in a year. Do we see another magical 30 for 30 season?
Oh, I have no doubt about it, but I think this is going to be the game where he plays well enough to make people think, hey, you know what? He's finally figured it out. Then he'll go out the week after this and throw 7 interceptions, and we'll be right back to where we need to be. But I really believe this is the overreaction game of the week. Packers will lose, and they're going to go, you know what? It didn't matter if they brought Rodgers back. And the Saints are, Jameis is going to play well enough to beat the Packers. And they're going to look at this. The Saints are going to be pretty good. Jameis Winston. And this is the overreaction game of the week. I guarantee it. You heard it here first.
Broncos at Giants. Teddy Bridgewater, the QB for your Denver Broncos.
Going Giants. I think the Broncos just, again, they're a patchwork franchise that's been really trying to look at this, slapping the hood of this thing. This thing can hold so many wins, and then the tires pop, and then the mirror falls off, and
all their quarterbacks get COVID, and they have to
practice dumbass.
You sent the article that they were trying to get through that loophole last year.
Yep, and they were caught cheating on film.
I think this is the last season for Fangio. I think he's gone after this season.
I think it's Teddy Bridgewater who's their QB now. I think he's gonna have a mediocre first couple of games, and John Elway's finally gonna snap and put the pads back. He's gonna do it myself.
I don't know. I think maybe John Elway might be part of the problem out there.
Well, he obviously is.
Yeah, I think that Fangio's going to get fired mid-season. I think they're going to have a really bad start, and then there's going to be
Elway hasn't been able to pick a QB that wasn't Peyton Manning.
Right.
And
that was a pretty easy pick to make.
Pick Peyton Manning. Good job on you. And then everything else has been
Garbage.
Garbage.
All right.
Yeah.
Or guys at the end of the rope, like Teddy Bridgewater's going to be out of the league in like a year or two.
Probably next 2 years. Yeah.
I mean, he could probably have a long career as a backup, I think. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Is that it?
Dolphins at Patriots. You get Tua Tagovailoa and Mac Jones.
I'll take the Pats.
Quarterback matchup.
Yeah, Mac Jones. I think he's going to come out and fucking sling it, and it's going to be an overreaction thing because I think people are going to be like, "Oh fuck, oh my god, what did you know?"
Yeah.
But yeah, TVs, we're going to be like, "Oh no, we're again." Like, yeah, you think that's about right?
I mean, I think Tua's
Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, sorry.
Las Vegas.
Yeah. Has anyone been stabbed in the Las Vegas parking lot yet?
Not yet. We're still hoping.
They haven't had fans until.
Okay. So. Yes. Okay. I feel like we need some blood. You know what I mean? Like there needs to be some blood to christen the parking lot to make the magic happen for the Raiders.
I think that the Ravens it's Ravens Raiders, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the Ravens have no trouble with this game. Who's quarterback? Is it still Derek Carr for the Raiders?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Still Carr.
Yeah. John Gruden. No.
Yeah, I would go with the Ravens. They're just a better run franchise all around.
Yep.
Talent is there. Coaching is better. It's just all around superior.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
That's week 1.
Okay. Well, I know it's pretty late. I can save it for next week if you want, but I do have the little.
No, let's do it and close it out.
All right, sure. Why not? Okay, so the big what is it? Yeah, the big 4-3-way. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Let's finish the show on that.
Okay. I don't remember who. I think you guys all did really well last week. I changed things up a little bit back to the NFL, NBA, and stuff like that. But Mike, pick an organization.
Oh, well, okay. I'm going to go way outside my comfort zone. NBA.
Okay. And there's a theme for these questions.
Oh.
I was a 10-time NBA All-Star. I was the 1995 league MVP. I won 2 championships and 2 gold medals.
I know who this is.
I was a first overall pick. I retired in 2003 with the team that drafted me. Who am I?
Retired in 2003, 95 MVP?
Yeah.
I am going to say David Robinson.
You would be absolutely correct. Well done.
Woohoo!
I didn't realize he won 2 titles when I was looking at this. I was like, oh,
yeah. He was part of those Spurs teams that got close but never punched the ticket. And then he was like in like a backup support role when they just started their dynasty.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Who would like to go next?
Go ahead, Zach.
Pick your lead.
Okay. Now that I know the format, I think I got to go with the Chell.
Okay. I was an NHL All-Star for virtually all of 2000 to 2010. I won both an Art Ross and Hart Memorial Trophy in the same season, but I played for 2 different teams. I was a number 1 overall pick. Who am I?
Joe Thornton?
Joe Thornton. You got it.
Yeah.
All right.
The 2 teams won MVP.
He's the only one that has ever done that, so it's kind of a unique thing. Greg, do you want football or baseball?
I'm because I used to do my every Super Bowl season. I would do my "Who Am I" thing, so I've got to go NFL here on this.
Okay,
give it to that.
I made the Pro Bowl 9 times. I was drafted 2nd overall, and I won Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2002. I only ever played in the NFC. I never won a Super Bowl. I retired in 2018 with the team that drafted me. Who am I?
Wait, okay. Give it to me one more time.
Sure. 9-time Pro Bowler.
Drafted number 2 in 2002?
Yep. And that same year, won Defensive Rookie of the Year. Only ever played in the NFC. Never won a title. Retired with the team that drafted him in 2018. Longer.
Woodson, but he played with the Raiders, so that's out. Drafted number 2 in 2002.
Let me know if you need a hint.
He was probably a Miami Hurricane if he was number 2 in 02.
Was not a Miami Hurricane. No.
Give me his college. I might have, that might help me.
I'm going to double check to make sure I'm not lying to you.
Give me a hint. Just any hint.
The two teams that he played for in between going back to the original team that took him were both in the NFC North. He played football at North Carolina. His college team.
Oh, wow. You know who it is, Zach? Take it. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think so. Is that Julius Peppers?
You got it. That's Julius Peppers.
Damn, yeah, I would have never gotten that.
The North Carolina tipped me off because he's the only guy that I can think of.
Yeah, because he played for the Packers for a while and
Bears for a little while. Bears. Yeah. He was Panther. He was awesome for the Panthers for a few years. Went to the Bears on a big contract. Did kind of mediocre. Went to the Packers and rebuilt his career. Then kind of signed a couple-year whatever contract with Carolina to retire.
Yeah, I've never gotten that.
I'm curious to see how easy you find the last one. For baseball, so feel free to collectively answer. I was a 7-time All-Star. I led the league in saves twice. My number was retired by one of the 3 clubs that I played for. I started my career with the Florida Marlins, and I never won a championship. Who am I?
You are... Oh, shit.
If I gave you the number, the jersey number, it would probably give it away.
Let me think about this. Started with the Marlins. Is he a Hall of Famer, you said?
I mean, I don't think he's been inducted yet. Let me double check.
Okay. So just a 7-time All-Star. Who did he retire with?
Oh, I know. I had to Google the double check, but I know who it is now. Like this was going to be my guess, but
yeah, he is not. Go ahead. You got him.
Trevor Hoffman.
Yeah, Trevor Hoffman. Yeah, he retired with the Brewers, and the Padres retired number 51 in his honor.
Right. No, when you said saves and number retirement, I was like, okay, Trevor Hoffman. But then the Marlins thing tripped me up, and I was like,
yeah. I was like, I got to get something in there I got to throw you off the scent because he was only with the Marlins for a year.
He was a career Padre, but yeah,
I like this format though. I do. I like the format of the Big 4-3-way here. The new format is nice.
It's fun. I love researching these little things. Like it's fun I find new shit out too. So glad you guys enjoy it. But we'll have we got football, NFL coming back. Is there a game Thursday? Yeah.
Thursday night. Mike's Buccaneers against the American
Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
Thursday, Sunday, Monday, and college all day Saturday.
Zach, I was going to ask you what happened with the Notre Dame game. I didn't get to see it, and I heard some stuff. Anything?
Notre Dame was up by like 18 in the third, and then Florida State backup QB had to come in and let it come back to tie it, go to overtime, and then Notre Dame won in an OT.
Oh, okay. All right, so it wasn't no big deal. I know that
there were some interesting little bits that happened, but nothing that was like.
We had another little tiny school knock off Washington. That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
What was it?
Montana beat Washington.
Montana, right. Oh, and Andy's Illinois. Well, I mean, you're not really like a big Illinois fan, but they lost to, what was it? The University of Texas, San Antonio, I think.
Yeah. I kind of root for him. I want him to succeed, but I don't like living down. But they opened the season with a really cool win against Nebraska, and then UTSA comes in and they just wet themselves. But I mean, to be fair, UTSA is actually pretty respectable program. So
decent.
So I mean, whatever. It's fine. They got the new white face masks. They're like looking halfway decent now. So good for them.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, a bunch of interesting results, but I mean, ultimately, it's like, oh, Alabama did what Alabama does.
I know. I saw that match. I'm like, oh, number 1 against number 14. This might be good. And it was. They might as well been playing like Toledo.
No, it was funny. I saw some jokes of people because it was a blowout early. They said, "Oh no, how is this happening again? Another fake school getting to play on ESPN primetime." And then Georgia Clemson was a big defensive battle.
No, that was a fucking snooze fest. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like
it was nice to see, you know, Georgia shut down Clemson's offense the way they did, but it was
there was one touchdown in the game and it was a interception return.
Yeah,
that's it.
It wasn't that great, but
and then LSU lost to UCLA because LSU made the mistake of going on the road to the West Coast for an early game, and now
did LSU lose that game?
Yeah.
I was watching part of that, but I kept sticking with Georgia Clemson for some reason.
UCLA won, and so now, of course, they jumped up to 16 in the AP poll.
Yeah, right.
It's this whole season of college football is going to be like, whose line is it anyway? Everything's made up. Nothing matters. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters.
Yeah.
It's just going to be chaos and madness. And Alabama wins, and everyone goes home.
Yeah, I mean, it's Alabama, it's Ohio State, and probably Oklahoma, and then everybody else jockeying for the fourth spot to lose to Alabama.
Georgia moved up to number 2, but we all know Georgia's not going to run. They can't do this. They'll drop a game to, like, I don't know, fucking South Carolina or somebody, and that'll be that.
Well, not even that. They'll lose to Alabama in the SEC title game, and that'll be that.
Yeah, if they get that far.
I don't know if they play in the regular season this year or not, but I mean, it's new quarterback, same thing. Like Alabama slotted in a bunch of new guys, and guess what? They're still the best team in the country. So
yeah, it's getting kind of crazy. Maybe they should just move them to the NFL and be done with it.
Just give them their championship. Everyone just goes there, gets their check, gets their title. Here's your trophy,
here's your ring, here's your check.
Like whatever. Enjoy being drafted in the first round.
It just sucks that there's 3 tiers of college football. There's Alabama. There's the 4 or 5 other teams that make the playoff, and then there's everybody else.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I can't wait for that 12-team playoff. Not that it'll make a difference in who actually wins at the end of the year, but it will at least be something else to look at than.
Well, Ohio State had a pretty good opening game against. I mean, Minnesota's a decent opponent, but this is going to sound weird, but I think that they've become like one of the behemoths in college football. It's kind of taking some of the fun out of it for me. I feel like I'm rooting for Microsoft, or I don't know, AT&T or something. It's like, this isn't cool. I'm I'd rather root for like the mom and pop shop down the street, but it's taking some of the fun out of it because it's really, they're like, oh, as long as we beat Michigan, it's like bullshit. Nothing but a national championship now is anything less than that is not.
Well, I mean, you're guaranteed to beat Michigan since they're keeping fuckface around.
Well, not only that, but they had this really promising wide receiver. He blew his knee out in like the second quarter, and he's out for the year.
Jesus.
So what if Michigan, somebody pays a few $1 million and they rename it the Coach Fuckface? That's the new
coach
title for that. 100% without question. Well, yeah, it's just no fun. What are you gonna say, Mike?
No, I'm good.
But anyway, so yeah, are we done, fellas? We can wrap it up, and
it's a good way to close up the show. There, I like that.
We'll start up season 10 next week with So follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Be sure to check out Andy's MVP Mitch Trubisky jersey on our Twitter feed, by the way, and
for show.
Subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and wherever fine podcasting is sold. We'll see you next time.
How about them Cowboys?